Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here, because today we're starting an exciting journey, a journey into the colorful, dynamic, and sometimes tricky world of English phrasal verbs. If you've ever felt confused by expressions like give up, look after, or break down, you're not alone. Many English learners struggle with phrasal verbs, and that's exactly why this story is here, to help you understand, remember, and use them naturally in everyday life. Throughout this story, you'll meet a young learner named Olivia. She, like you, wants to speak English fluently and confidently. But she quickly realizes that learning phrasal verbs is different from memorizing regular vocabulary. Phrasal verbs are alive, they move, change, and often have multiple meanings depending on the situation. They are everywhere, in conversations, movies, books, workplaces, and even casual texting. In the chapters ahead, you'll follow Olivia's experiences in school, work, travel, and friendships. Each part of her story will introduce new phrasal verbs, showing you not just their meanings, but also how to use them naturally. You'll see how these verbs make English colorful, expressive, and much more fun. From simple daily routines to tricky challenges, Olivia will encounter situations that require her to pick up, carry on, look into, and sometimes even figure out phrasal verbs in context. By the end of this story, you'll discover that phrasal verbs aren't scary or confusing. They're tools that will help you speak more fluently, understand native speakers, and add a natural flow to your English. You'll learn how to put them into practice, remember them through stories and experiences, and feel confident using them in conversations. So, whether you're listening on your way to school, reading before bed, or practicing with friends, get ready to join Olivia on a journey that will make phrasal verbs not only understandable but enjoyable. Each chapter will immerse you in real-life situations, showing you how these verbs work in context, how to react naturally, and how to express yourself fully in English. Get ready to dive into a world where language comes alive, where verbs meet prepositions and adverbs to create meaning, and where your English will grow in vivid, practical, and unforgettable ways. Olivia's journey will be your guide, and by following her adventures, you'll start using phrasal verbs naturally, without stress, without memorization lists, just learning through experience and fun. So, take a deep breath, relax, and let's start. Olivia is about to pick up her first set of phrasal verbs, and with them, she'll begin an adventure that will boost her English in ways she never imagined. The next morning, Olivia woke up feeling determined. Today was going to be different. She was ready to focus on phrasal verbs, not just memorize them, but actually notice them in her daily life. She had her notebook ready, her favorite pen in hand, and a curious mind eager to explore. Her first encounter happened at breakfast. Olivia's brother, Ethan, was rushing to leave for school and shouted, "Olivia! Can you look after my backpack? I don't want it to get lost." Olivia paused. "Look after," she repeated quietly. She remembered that it meant to take care of something or someone. She picked up the backpack and smiled, feeling like a responsible guardian. She wrote it down in her notebook. Look after, to take care of something or someone. Later, Olivia's mother reminded her, "Don't put off your homework. It's better to finish it now than worry later." Olivia nodded. Put off. That meant to delay or postpone something. She realized that phrasal verbs were everywhere, even in simple, everyday advice. She made a note. Put off, to delay or postpone. When Olivia arrived at school, she found her friends chatting about a group project. Lily said, "We need to figure out how to divide the tasks so that everyone does their part." Olivia smiled. Figure out meant to solve or understand something. She felt a spark of excitement. Phrasal verbs weren't just grammar rules. They were practical tools that helped people communicate clearly. She wrote, "Figure out, to solve or understand something." During the math class, Olivia's teacher reminded the students, "If you can't solve the problem, don't be afraid to ask for help. We all need guidance sometimes." Olivia jotted it down. She realized that even though ask for help might seem simple, it was also a phrasal verb with a very specific function in communication. It showed initiative and courage. After school, Olivia went to the park with her notebook. As she watched children play, she heard a little girl shout, "Don't give up! You can do it!" Olivia's eyes lit up. Give up, she repeated in her mind. It meant to stop trying or surrender. She understood instantly why this phrasal verb was so common. It conveyed persistence and motivation. She added, "Give up," to stop trying. Later, while walking home, Olivia encountered another situation. A cyclist shouted at a pedestrian, "Watch out! Don't run into people like that." Olivia paused. Run into could mean literally colliding with someone, but she also knew it could mean meeting someone unexpectedly. She imagined both situations and quickly noted. Run into, to collide with someone or to meet someone unexpectedly. By the time she reached home, Olivia's notebook was filled with new phrasal verbs, each connected to a real-life situation. She realized that noticing verbs in context made them easier to remember. The stories, the interactions, and the emotions behind the verbs made each phrase come alive. That evening, Olivia shared her discoveries with her mother. She explained how she had learned to look after Ethan's backpack, not put off her homework, and figure out the project tasks with Lily. Her mother smiled. "See, Olivia? Using phrasal verbs isn't about memorizing rules. It's about noticing them in life and applying them naturally." Olivia nodded enthusiastically. She felt a growing confidence. These verbs weren't abstract. They were part of her daily experiences, guiding her actions, thoughts, and communication. Before going to bed, Olivia added a reflection to her notebook. Phrasal verbs are everywhere. They describe real actions, advice, and interactions. When you notice them in daily life, connect them to situations, and use them yourself, they become natural and memorable. That night, Olivia dreamed of verbs dancing in the sky, connecting with prepositions and adverbs to form colorful expressions. She understood that this was just the beginning. Her journey with phrasal verbs had started in daily life, but there were many more adventures ahead, adventures in work, travel, challenges, friendships, and creative storytelling. Olivia felt excited, knowing that each day would bring new phrasal verbs, new experiences, and new ways to use them naturally in her English. Tomorrow promised another adventure, and she was ready to pick up her notebook and dive in. The next morning, Olivia arrived at school with a sense of purpose. She was ready to notice phrasal verbs not just in conversations, but also in learning contexts, in lessons, instructions, and classroom interactions. She wanted to understand how these verbs could make her communication more natural and effective. As she entered her classroom, her teacher, Mr. Carter, greeted the students warmly. "Good morning, everyone! Today we're going to go over some tricky grammar points before the test." Olivia smiled. Go over meant to review or examine something carefully. She wrote it in her notebook. Go over, to review or examine carefully. During math class, Olivia noticed another phrasal verb in the instructions. If you can't solve this problem, don't hesitate to ask around. Maybe someone else has a tip or strategy. Olivia paused. Ask around meant to ask multiple people for information or help. She imagined herself politely asking classmates for advice, and jotted it down. Ask around, to ask several people for information. Later, while preparing for a group science project, Olivia's friend Lily said, "We need to come up with a creative idea that stands out." Olivia repeated it in her mind. Come up with meant to think of or create an idea. She visualized herself brainstorming with colorful markers and post-it notes. She wrote, "Come up with, to think of or create something." During English class, Mr. Carter reminded the students, "Make sure to fill in the blanks in your exercises carefully. Don't skip anything." Olivia nodded. Fill in, she knew meant to complete missing information. She also noticed that phrasal verbs often had literal and figurative meanings. She added it to her notebook. Fill in, to complete missing information. At lunchtime, Olivia and her friends discussed the upcoming school play. Ethan mentioned, "We need to set up the stage and make sure all props are ready before rehearsal." Olivia paused. Set up meant to arrange or prepare something. She pictured her friends carrying chairs and props, organizing everything perfectly. She noted. Set up, to arrange or prepare. Later, Olivia encountered a challenge during a history presentation. She accidentally mixed up her notes, and forgot the order of events. Mixed up, she thought, meant to confuse or put things in the wrong order. She quickly reorganized her notes and practiced speaking again. She added it to her notebook. Mix up, to confuse or put in the wrong order. After school, Olivia joined the library club. The librarian, Mrs. Dawson, said, "If you want to look up new information, check the catalog or ask me. There's a lot of useful material here." Olivia repeated it silently. Look up meant to search for information. She imagined herself scanning bookshelves and typing on the computer. She wrote, "Look up," to search for information. While working on a collaborative project, Olivia noticed another phrasal verb in her friend's message. "Don't forget to hand in your part of the report by tomorrow." Hand in meant to submit something. Olivia smiled, realizing how often phrasal verbs appeared in school life, from instructions and reminders to collaborative tasks. She noted it down. Hand in, to submit. By the end of the day, Olivia's notebook was filled with examples from lessons, instructions, and group work. She realized that phrasal verbs weren't just random words. They were practical expressions that helped her navigate school tasks, communicate clearly, and solve problems efficiently. That evening, Olivia reflected on her day. She wrote, "Phrasal verbs in school are everywhere, in lessons, projects, and instructions. Observing them, using them in context, and practicing regularly makes them natural and easy to remember." She felt a sense of accomplishment. Each new phrasal verb she learned wasn't just a word. It was a tool that empowered her to understand instructions, participate actively in class, and communicate with confidence. As Olivia went to bed, she imagined herself in a classroom where every instruction, conversation, and activity was filled with lively phrasal verbs. She understood that learning English wasn't about memorizing lists. It was about noticing patterns, connecting language to action, and using words naturally in everyday life. Olivia smiled, knowing that tomorrow would bring new experiences, more phrasal verbs, and even greater opportunities to practice and enjoy English in real-world contexts. Her journey was far from over. In fact, it was only getting more exciting. The weekend finally arrived, and Olivia was eager to see how phrasal verbs could appear outside the classroom. She had always dreamed of exploring new places, and now she realized that travel could be an excellent opportunity to learn and use English naturally. Her parents surprised her with a trip to a nearby city for the day. On the train, her mother said, "Make sure to look out for your bag and your belongings." Olivia smiled. Look out meant to be careful or watchful. She held her backpack securely and noted it in her notebook. Look out, to be careful or watchful. As they explored the city streets, Olivia noticed a small cafe with a sign that read, "Please come in." "Come in," she repeated silently. It meant to enter a place. She smiled at the simplicity of some phrasal verbs and realized that they could be both literal and figurative, depending on context. She added it to her notebook. Come in, to enter a place. While walking through the park, Olivia's father reminded her, "We need to set off soon if we want to visit the museum before it closes." Olivia thought. Set off meant to start a journey. She imagined herself stepping onto a path, ready for adventure. She jotted down. Set off, to start a journey. At the museum, Olivia encountered her first challenge of the day. The audio guide asked visitors to turn up the volume on their headphones. Turn up, she realized meant to increase or make something louder. Olivia adjusted her device and smiled. She noted it in her notebook. Turn up, to increase or make louder. Later, while exploring the exhibits, a guide warned, "Please don't run into the displays. Be careful." Olivia remembered hearing this phrasal verb before in a different context. It could mean literally bumping into something, or meeting someone unexpectedly. She wrote, run into, to collide with or meet unexpectedly. After the museum, Olivia and her family decided to grab lunch at a small local restaurant. the waiter said. "If you're ready, you can go ahead and order. I'll be right back." Go ahead, she thought, meant to proceed or start doing something. She felt her confidence grow. Phrasal verbs were appearing naturally in every interaction. She added it to her notebook. Go ahead, to proceed or start doing something. While walking along the riverside, Olivia noticed a street performer who had put on a small show. Put on, she repeated. It meant to perform or present something publicly. Olivia imagined the performer setting up his props, and wrote, "Put on, to perform or present." Later, Olivia's father said, "We need to head back to catch the train." Head back meant to return to a previous location. She pictured herself walking in the opposite direction, returning safely. She added it to her notebook. Head back, to return to a place. Before leaving, Olivia noticed a group of tourists who seemed lost. One of them asked, "Can you point out where the nearest subway station is?" Point out meant to indicate or show something. Olivia realized how useful this phrasal verb could be in travel situations. She noted, point out, to indicate or show something. By the end of the day, Olivia's notebook was full of new phrasal verbs connected to travel and real-life experiences. She felt proud. These verbs weren't just abstract. They were part of her adventure, guiding her actions, helping her communicate, and making her feel more confident in English. That night, Olivia reflected on her day and wrote, "Travel is full of phrasal verbs. Observing them in signs, conversations, and instructions makes them easy to understand and remember. Using them naturally becomes a part of the adventure." Olivia realized that every journey, whether short or long, could be an opportunity to practice English. Each street, cafe, museum, or park provided context and meaning to the verbs she was learning. The combination of action, observation, and experience made phrasal verbs unforgettable. She went to bed with a smile, thinking about the next adventure, one where she would encounter challenges, social interactions, and exciting opportunities to put her phrasal verbs into action. Her journey was becoming richer, and her confidence was growing with every step. Monday arrived, and Olivia was excited to see how phrasal verbs appeared in social situations. She realized that school and travel had helped her recognize verbs in structured settings, but conversations with friends and casual interactions were where phrasal verbs truly came alive. During lunch break, Olivia joined her friends under the big oak tree. Lily waved and said, "Hey, Olivia! Why don't you join in our game? It's really fun." Olivia smiled. Join in meant to participate in an activity. She immediately understood how it made interactions smoother and more inviting. She wrote in her notebook, "Join in, to participate in an activity." Later, Ethan called Olivia to ask for help with his science project. He said, "Can you drop by after school to help me with this?" Drop by, she thought, meant to visit someone for a short time. Olivia felt comfortable using the phrase in casual speech and added it to her notebook. Drop by, to visit someone briefly. While chatting, Lily mentioned, "I tried to get over the scary scene in that movie we watched last night, but it was too intense." Olivia repeated it. Get over meant to recover from something, usually an emotion or difficulty. She imagined overcoming fear and jotted it down. Get over, to recover from something. Later that afternoon, Olivia organized a small study session with her friends. She said, "Let's set up the chairs and books so we can work comfortably." Set up, she knew meant to arrange or prepare something. Olivia noticed that this phrasal verb was versatile, appearing in both travel and social situations. She wrote, set up, to arrange or prepare. During the session, a friend mentioned, "I couldn't keep up with the homework last week. It was overwhelming." Keep up, she realized meant to maintain pace or stay updated. Olivia understood how useful it was in describing challenges and everyday life. She noted it. Keep up, to maintain pace or stay updated. As the group worked, Olivia noticed another phrasal verb. Don't mess up the diagrams. We need them to be perfect for the presentation. Mess up meant to make a mistake or spoil something. Olivia imagined herself carefully drawing diagrams and added it to her notebook. Mess up, to make a mistake or spoil something. Later, during a casual chat, Lily said, "You really cheered me up when I was feeling sad yesterday." Olivia smiled. Cheer up meant to make someone feel happier. She felt the warmth of the expression and wrote it down. Cheer up, to make someone feel happier. In the evening, Olivia received a text from another friend. "Hey, we need to catch up this weekend. So much has happened." Catch up meant to update someone on recent events or reconnect. Olivia understood how phrasal verbs allowed people to communicate naturally and efficiently in social life. She noted, catch up, to update or reconnect. Before going to bed, Olivia reflected on the day. She realized that social interactions were a treasure trove for phrasal verbs, from encouraging friends and sharing emotions to organizing activities and expressing thoughts. Each verb had a function, a feeling, and a story behind it, making English rich and expressive. She wrote in her notebook, "Phrasal verbs in social life make conversations natural, fun, and meaningful. Observing how friends use them, practicing in context, and connecting them to emotions makes them easy to remember and use." Olivia felt grateful. She saw that phrasal verbs were not just grammar rules but living parts of everyday interactions. Using them in social life gave her confidence, improved her communication, and strengthened her friendships. As she closed her notebook, Olivia thought about the next part of her journey, learning how phrasal verbs help in problem-solving and dealing with challenges. She was ready to see how these verbs could guide her not only in conversations but also in thinking, planning, and handling unexpected situations. The next week, Olivia faced situations that tested her problem-solving skills. She realized that phrasal verbs weren't just for describing actions or conversations. They were essential tools for thinking, planning, and overcoming challenges. It started in math class. Olivia was working on a tricky problem when her pencil broke. She whispered to herself, "I need to figure out another way to solve this." Figure out, she remembered, meant to solve or understand something. This time, it wasn't just about learning, it was about actively thinking through a challenge. She quickly found a new method and wrote it in her notebook. Figure out, to solve or understand a problem. Later, the teacher announced a group assignment. Olivia and her classmates had to come up with a creative presentation on renewable energy. Come up with, she knew, meant to think of or create an idea. Olivia and her friends brainstormed, writing down every idea, no matter how unusual. She jotted it in her notebook. Come up with, to think of or create something. During the project, a technical issue arose with their slides. Olivia told her friend, "Don't worry, we can work around this problem." Work around meant to find a solution to a problem without directly confronting the obstacle. Olivia visualized fixing the issue creatively and noted it. Work around, to find a solution despite difficulties. At home, Olivia faced another challenge. Her little brother spilled juice on the floor. She reminded herself, "I need to clean up this mess before it spreads." Clean up, she knew, meant to remove or tidy something. She quickly grabbed a towel and wiped the spill, realizing that phrasal verbs were practical and actionable. She wrote, "Clean up, to remove or tidy." Later that evening, Olivia tried to finish her homework but got stuck on a tricky sentence. She decided to look up the meaning of a word in the dictionary. Look up meant to search for information. Olivia appreciated how this phrasal verb made her learning process more independent and effective. She jotted it down. Look up, to search for information. During her group's science experiment, something went wrong with their setup. Olivia said, "Let's set up the experiment again carefully so it works this time." Set up meant to arrange or prepare. She realized how often this phrasal verb appeared when organizing and troubleshooting, so she added it to her notebook. Set up, to arrange or prepare. Later, while reviewing her notes, Olivia noticed she had mixed up two ideas. She smiled and thought, "It's okay. I can sort out the confusion." Sort out meant to resolve or organize something confusing. Olivia carefully arranged her notes, and felt a sense of accomplishment. She noted it. Sort out, to resolve or organize. The next day, Olivia's teacher asked the class to hand in their assignments. Olivia quickly submitted hers, feeling proud of the work she had completed through careful thinking and problem-solving. Hand in meant to submit something, and Olivia realized it wasn't just a classroom verb, it applied to life's responsibilities as well. She wrote, hand in, to submit. Before bed, Olivia reflected on her day. She wrote in her notebook, phrasal verbs help solve problems, plan solutions, and overcome challenges. Using them naturally strengthens not just language skills, but also thinking and decision-making. Olivia smiled, realizing that learning phrasal verbs wasn't only about communication, it was about approaching challenges with confidence, creativity, and action. These verbs guided her thinking, helped her adapt to obstacles, and gave her the tools to respond effectively in real life. As she drifted off to sleep, Olivia felt ready for the next adventure, applying phrasal verbs in professional and work-related situations, where she could combine language, logic, and social skills to communicate effectively and succeed. The following week, Olivia took on her first volunteer role at a local community center. She was excited to see how phrasal verbs appeared in professional and work-related situations, where clear communication and quick thinking were essential. Her supervisor, Mr. Harris, welcomed her warmly. Olivia, thank you for coming. Let's go over the schedule for today so you know what to do. Olivia noted the phrasal verb in her notebook. Go over meant to review or examine carefully. She realized that in professional settings, reviewing instructions thoroughly was crucial. Go over, to review or examine carefully. During her first task, Olivia needed to set up chairs and tables for a small workshop. She smiled, recognizing this phrasal verb from previous experiences. Set up meant to arrange or prepare something, a versatile verb for work, school, or events. She jotted it down. Set up, to arrange or prepare. Later, a volunteer reminded her. If anything goes wrong, we can work out a solution together. Work out meant to find a solution or resolve an issue. Olivia realized that problem-solving in professional situations often required collaboration. She wrote, work out, to find a solution or resolve a problem. During a break, Mr. Harris asked Olivia to fill in for another volunteer who couldn't make it. Fill in meant to temporarily take someone's place. Olivia understood the importance of flexibility in professional life and noted it. Fill in, to temporarily take someone's place. Later, Olivia's supervisor said, make sure to hand out the materials to all participants. Hand out meant to distribute something. Olivia carefully gave each participant the worksheets and pens, realizing how essential clear instructions were in work settings. She wrote, hand out, to distribute. At the end of the workshop, Mr. Harris reminded everyone to clean up the area before leaving. Clean up meant to tidy or organize, and Olivia realized this phrasal verb appeared in every type of responsibility, from school to work to home. She added it to her notebook. Clean up, to tidy or organize. Later, a participant asked Olivia to look into a question about the schedule. Look into meant to investigate or examine something. Olivia carefully checked the details and provided an answer, appreciating how phrasal verbs guided professional communication. She wrote, look into, to investigate or examine. During a team discussion, Olivia had to bring up an idea for the next workshop. Bring up meant to mention or introduce a topic. She confidently shared her suggestion, noticing how phrasal verbs helped her express thoughts clearly and professionally. She added, bring up, to mention or introduce. At the end of the day, Mr. Harris told Olivia, you really stepped up today and handled everything well. Step up meant to take responsibility or act decisively. Olivia felt proud. Using phrasal verbs naturally in professional situations made her feel competent and confident. She wrote, step up, to take responsibility or act decisively. Before heading home, Olivia reflected on her experience. She wrote in her notebook, phrasal verbs in work and professional life help communicate clearly, manage tasks, and take responsibility. Using them naturally makes me feel confident, capable, and ready for challenges." Olivia smiled, realizing that phrasal verbs were more than words. They were tools for action, collaboration, and success. Every verb she learned could guide her decisions, interactions, and performance, whether in school, volunteer work, or later in her career. As she walked home, Olivia thought about her next adventure, using phrasal verbs in creative and storytelling situations, where imagination and language would combine to bring her words to life. She felt excited to continue expanding her English, confident that phrasal verbs would make her speech expressive, natural, and versatile. The following weekend, Olivia decided to explore a new way of learning phrasal verbs, through creative writing. She realized that using these verbs in stories not only helped her remember them but also made her English more vivid, expressive, and natural. Sitting at her desk, Olivia opened her notebook and began writing a short story about a mysterious adventure. She started. The detective decided to look into the strange disappearance of the treasure. Look into, she noted, meant to investigate or examine. Olivia imagined herself as the detective, diving into clues and solving mysteries. She jotted it in her notebook. Look into, to investigate or examine. As she continued, she wrote, he needed to come up with a plan to catch the thief before sunset. Come up with, meant to think of or create something. Olivia enjoyed crafting clever plans in her story, realizing how phrasal verbs brought her writing to life. She added it to her notebook. Come up with, to think of or create. In the story, the detective's assistant accidentally mixed up the clues. Mix up, meant to confuse or put things in the wrong order. Olivia imagined the chaos and laughter, making the verb memorable. She wrote, mix up, to confuse or put in the wrong order. Later in the story, the detective had to figure out a complex puzzle hidden in the old library. Figure out, meant to solve or understand something. Olivia smiled as she pictured the detective's excitement when he solved the puzzle. She jotted it down. Figure out, to solve or understand. Her story continued. The detective set off at dawn to follow the secret map. Set off, meant to start a journey. Olivia imagined the adventure, feeling the thrill of movement and discovery. She added it to her notebook. Set off, to start a journey. At one point, the detective's horse stumbled, and he had to pick up the dropped documents quickly. Pick up, meant to lift or collect something. Olivia pictured the detective's quick reflexes and wrote, pick up, to lift or collect. Later, the detective's friend encouraged him. Don't give up. The treasure is close. Give up, meant to stop trying or surrender. Olivia felt the suspense and added it to her notebook. Give up, to stop trying or surrender. In the climax, the detective finally ran into the thief near a hidden cave. Run into could mean literally collide or meet unexpectedly. Olivia imagined the sudden encounter and jotted it down. Run into, to collide with or meet unexpectedly. By the end of her story, Olivia had used phrasal verbs to describe investigation, problem-solving, movement, encouragement, and unexpected events. She realized that in creative writing, phrasal verbs added energy, clarity, and emotion. She reflected in her notebook. Phrasal verbs in storytelling make writing dynamic, expressive, and memorable. Using them creatively helps connect words to actions, emotions, and imagination. Olivia smiled, realizing that each verb she practiced in writing strengthened her ability to use it in real life. Through stories, she could experiment, make mistakes safely, and enjoy learning English in a natural, fun way. As she closed her notebook, Olivia thought about her next journey, using phrasal verbs in emotional and personal experiences, where feelings, relationships, and reflection would guide her learning. She felt confident that phrasal verbs could express not just actions, but thoughts and emotions as well. As autumn arrived, Olivia found herself reflecting on her personal growth and emotions. She realized that phrasal verbs weren't just for school, work, or adventures. They were powerful tools for expressing feelings, handling challenges, and understanding herself. One afternoon, Olivia felt frustrated after a difficult day at school. She whispered to herself, "I need to calm down before I overreact." Calm down meant to relax or become less agitated. Olivia took a few deep breaths and felt her stress ease. She wrote it in her notebook. Calm down, to relax or become less agitated. Later, she called her best friend Lily and said, "I need you to cheer me up. Today was rough." Cheer up meant to make someone feel happier. Lily told jokes and shared funny stories, and Olivia's mood lifted. She noted, "Cheer up, to make someone feel happier." During a reflective journaling session, Olivia wrote about her mistakes and successes. She reminded herself not to beat herself up over small errors. Beat up, in this context, meant to criticize or blame oneself. Olivia realized that phrasal verbs could describe internal feelings as well as actions. She wrote, "Beat up, to criticize or blame oneself." Later that week, Olivia faced a challenge in her music class. She struggled with a difficult piece and considered quitting. But then she thought, "I won't give up. I can work through this problem." Give up meant to stop trying, and work through meant to deal with the problem gradually. Olivia practiced slowly, breaking the piece into manageable sections. She added both verbs to her notebook. Give up, to stop trying. Work through, to deal with the problem gradually. During a conversation with her parents, Olivia admitted, "Sometimes I bottle up my feelings instead of talking about them." Bottle up meant to hide or suppress emotions. She realized that recognizing her feelings was the first step toward expressing herself naturally. She noted, "Bottle up, to hide or suppress emotions." Later, a friend encouraged her, "You need to open up more about what you feel. It helps others understand you." Open up meant to share feelings or thoughts. Olivia practiced expressing herself honestly, understanding that phrasal verbs could describe subtle emotional actions. She wrote, "Open up, to share feelings or thoughts." One evening, while reflecting on her experiences, Olivia realized she needed to let go of old worries and regrets. Let go meant to release or move on from something. She visualized putting her fears and doubts aside, feeling lighter and more confident. She jotted it down. Let go, to release or move on from something. By the end of the week, Olivia noticed that phrasal verbs had become a natural part of her self-expression. She could describe her thoughts, emotions, and personal growth clearly and authentically. She wrote in her notebook, "Phrasal verbs aren't just for talking about actions or tasks. They help me express feelings, manage emotions, and reflect on personal growth. Using them naturally makes my English more expressive and meaningful." Olivia felt a deep sense of accomplishment. She realized that phrasal verbs were not only tools for communication but also guides for understanding herself and navigating life's emotional landscape. Each verb carried meaning, emotion, and context, making her language richer and more human. As she closed her journal that night, Olivia felt ready for the final part of her journey, reviewing everything she had learned and reflecting on how phrasal verbs had transformed her English, making it natural, confident, and expressive. The journey had finally reached its final chapter. Olivia sat by her desk, her notebook open, filled with pages of phrasal verbs collected from school, travel, social life, work, creative writing, and personal reflection. She smiled, thinking of how far she had come. Looking back, Olivia realized that learning phrasal verbs wasn't about memorizing endless lists of words. It was about noticing how language worked in real-life situations, connecting verbs to actions, emotions, and experiences, and practicing them naturally in context. She remembered the first day when she picked up a few basic verbs, unsure of how to use them. Over time, she had learned to join in conversations, look into problems, step up in responsibilities, and even open up about her feelings. Each phrasal verb became a key to understanding not only English but also the world around her. Olivia reflected on the lessons she had learned. In school, phrasal verbs helped her follow instructions, participate in activities, and collaborate with classmates. Phrases like go over, come up with, and hand in became natural tools for learning. In travel and adventures, verbs like set off, look out, and pick up guided her actions, making her journey smooth and her communication clear. In social life, phrasal verbs expressed emotion and participation. Olivia realized the power of cheer up, catch up, and join in to connect with friends. In problem solving, verbs like figure out, work around, and sort out helped her face challenges logically and creatively. In work and professional situations, phrasal verbs such as set up, bring up, and step up gave her confidence and clarity in taking responsibility and collaborating effectively. In creative writing, verbs like come up with, mix up, and look into added energy, vividness, and storytelling depth to her writing. In personal growth and emotional life, phrasal verbs allowed her to express feelings and manage emotions with calm down, open up, and let go. Olivia realized that phrasal verbs were more than words. They were action, emotion, and connection rolled into compact expressions. They made English expressive, natural, and alive. She understood that learning them required observation, practice, and reflection, not just repetition. As she closed her notebook for the last time, Olivia felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She thought about how phrasal verbs had become part of her daily life, seamlessly appearing in conversations, writing, problem-solving, and self-expression. They had transformed her English from mechanical sentences to fluid, confident, and meaningful communication. Finally, Olivia wrote a short note to herself, a reminder for the future. Keep noticing phrasal verbs in every situation. Use them naturally. Connect them to actions, emotions, and experiences. They are keys to mastering English and expressing yourself fully. With that, Olivia felt ready to continue her journey, confident that phrasal verbs would guide her through every conversation, adventure, challenge, and reflection ahead. She realized that mastering phrasal verbs wasn't the end. It was a lifelong tool for learning, connecting, and expressing herself. Olivia smiled, knowing that her English had grown richer, her communication more natural, and her confidence stronger. Phrasal verbs had opened a door to understanding not just the language, but the world, and she was ready to walk through it, step by step, word by word, naturally and confidently. The journey was complete, yet ongoing, a lifelong adventure filled with learning, expression, and connection. The end.